What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm here with
Gershwan.
And guess what? We're back at it, answering more questions again in today's For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. If you want to support the channel, you can. You can hit us up with a super thanks. If you do, we will guarantee answer a question for the next episode. But this question comes from
Musica Player. His question is, what do you guys think of the new Imperial Agents Codex?
Good question, and I think it is the death of the DeathWatch.
That is hopefully not coming, but we'll have to wait and see. So if you guys are unaware, GW has recently put out that a new codex is coming back from the dead, and that is the Inquisitorial Agents of the Imperium.
Which is not necessarily something too new, because I think 9th edition had Agents of the Imperium, or like the Talons of the Imperium.
But I think it was just a detachment, wasn't it? They didn't actually have a codex.
I really thought it was a codex, and it just included like Sisters of Silence, Inquisition, Assassins, all that kind of stuff.
Well, because the Sisters of Silence were thrown into the Adeptus Custodes.
Well, even the Adeptus Custodes were part of that codex. So it might have not been 9th edition, it might have been 8th edition. But the point was that it was just like these mix match of different units that didn't have their full armies. But it didn't include the DeathWatch. The DeathWatch has always been a standalone faction since the big release came out, because DeathWatch has been around for a while. But like the codex itself is being folded over into this new codex that's all about the Inquisition, the Imperium, and I feel like that's a sign that Games Workshop is not going to be supporting DeathWatch this edition.
Yeah, that sucks, because the DeathWatch, as much as they're really cool, they're basically just the leftover Space Marines.
Yeah.
They do have some new units. They can bring in some different combinations that you can't field with regular Space Marines. And it sucks that they're kind of being lumped into this codex that's basically just a mix mash of a bunch of like Imperium stuff. They've got the Breachers on there. They've got Inquisitors. They've got Sisters of Sisters of Battle are in there. Grey Knights are in there. Like, it is an interesting codex, and I don't know if I'm liking the direction they're taking this in.
Well, because what it's doing is what Games Workshop has done with a bunch of other, with Age of Sigmar, it got rid of 3 different factions. I think this is how Games Workshop is going to get rid of some of Imperial factions, which is Grey Knights, which had their own standalone codex in the past, but now we don't even have Primaris Grey Knights, because they don't know what to do with that.
Yeah. However, they did say about Grey Knights that they're getting a codex next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they put it out in the article, I believe.
But I think every single Imperial faction now can have Sisters of Battle and Grey Knight Terminators as an auxiliary, or what do they call them?
Yeah, like a detachment force. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that Games Workshop is getting rid of those big codexes in exchange for just lumping them all together with this codex that's supposed to like include all of these other ones.
Yeah, it sucks because it's like, oh, there's not enough Imperial agents. Throw these other guys in there.
Yeah. And I think you could still play Space Marines and have a detachment, or have, I forget what it's called, to have it be DeathWatch. But it's just interesting that they really are saying no new codex for the DeathWatch. Another thing that I find interesting is that the old school DeathWatch codex, which isn't really even that old school, it was like what, 6th, 7th edition?
Yeah.
The whole point was that they were standalone Imperial units, they were specialized, and you buffed up each individual character. That was a fun thing about DeathWatch, is that you had these minis that you can basically pimp out with different weapons, xenotechnology, all this kind of stuff. Games Workshop is probably going to get rid of that.
It sucks because like there was so much flavor for each squad, because you could have like a Salamander in there, not a Grey Knight, but like a Tempestus. Nope, not a Tempestus Scion. What's the guy I'm trying to think of?
Just all types of chapters.
Yeah, I guess all the chapters really. Like into a squad, name them all, have them be kitted out with awesome weapons. I remember I was shocked to see that you could literally use Necron weapons with the DeathWatch. I'm like, well, that's really cool.
Yeah, but I think Games Workshop is trying to make everything simple, and by just lumping them together, it gives you that sense of like, if you're a DeathWatch player, you can still play them, but like you are the leftover, that shitty table at the wedding that nobody really knows how to or where to put you guys, kind of thing. It's an interesting thing. Lore wise, though, including the DeathWatch into the Agents of the Imperium makes sense because that's how they play in the lore.
Right.
It will be an Inquisitor going through some type of sector who finds a lone Space Marine, which is supposed to be rare, but then find out that, oh no, he's from the DeathWatch. He's protecting this sector, and he's going to become part of my retinue. And the Inquisitor and the DeathWatch work together.
Yeah, so lore-wise, it kind of makes sense, but fingers crossed that they actually get a codex and it's actually somewhat decent.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, but we'll just have to wait and see. Like, I don't know. I feel like lately GW's been dropping the ball on a lot of things. Like, have you seen the new Inquisitor Cotias model?
Yeah.
Nah. Like, going back to the old one, detailed, really imposing. This new one just looks bland. It almost looks like they didn't finish them.
It looks like an Age of Sigmar model, and it doesn't look good in comparison to the old one, like you said.
Yeah.
Even the eagle is not like cool. It's like flying, but it's attached to.
It's its own separate base, and it's like attached to some metal rebar or something.
Yeah, no, that was a big fail. Especially because the lore behind Inquisitors is so cool. Like. And you're gonna give us this shitty model.
Yeah, it's crazy because if you look at the cover of the Codex and then you look at the new model for Cotias, man, it's like, what did they do to him? They stripped him of all his riz, as you guys would say.
Yeah. You do get some cool ass Inquisitor units that were there in the past that are coming back. There's a Dreadnought. I know that is an Inquisitor who basically has like what Melta weapons used to be, so strength 10. So you are devastating vehicles and whatnot. So tabletop-wise, it's going to be interesting. But if you are a player in that world of Deathwatch and Grey Knights, I feel like it's more of just like you just want me to spend money and buy other things. But yeah, and yeah, that's what I think about that stuff.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. So are you excited to play Imperial Agents? Because I don't know. I feel like if anything, this took away the excitement for me.
I wonder if Jacaros are going to be included. They have to be, right?
I think they need a new model.
Yeah, it's a fine cast model, the old Jacaro model. I have one.
They're really cool, and I like the lore of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're just kind of goofy.
Yeah, but they also showcase how within the lore of 40K for the beginner, right away, like the Imperium is seen as like this super xenophobic thing. But what I think it is just so massive that odds are you're not going to find a Xenos on a hive world, because traveling or planets that have aliens is probably not as common as you think, right? So having this like basically orangutan with electro weapons, or what are they called?
Digital weapons.
Digital weapons. Kind of makes sense, because it's like it's rare for you to see a Space Marine, it's rare for you to see an Inquisitor, and it's even rarer for an Inquisitor to have a retinue with the Xenos. And bam, here he is, and you can play it, because let's face it, you're playing Space Marines, so that's super rare anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope the Jacaro shows up.
Yeah, because it'd be amazing to have like, oh, look at this orangutan looking thing. And then he points at you with a finger, and it's a freaking las cannon blast.
Yeah. And they can't talk. That's another thing about the Jacaro.
And they're really hard to befriend, too.
Yes. You have to pet them the right way. Next question comes from J_O_B is back. What is the lore, canon or not, behind the Angry Marines?
It's been a hot minute since we've talked about them.
Yeah, and I think the lore has changed a little bit, but from what I remember, if you jump over to the One Mind Syndicate page, we have a standalone lore video. Or no, we have like
there's like three of them, yeah.
But the lore of the Angry Marines, as it used to be on 4chan, was that they're just angry Marines that are angry all the time. And you're supposed to write everything in capital letters, because why not? Because you're angry! Exclamation points.
They've got power chairs as weapons.
Power bats.
Power bats. Their freaking insignia is like, what is it, like an angry face?
Yeah.
All poorly drawn. And like, it's just the most over the top. Like, think of an angsty like 16-year-old making a Space Marine. That's what it is.
That's basically what it is. And he's making fun of everything. He calls Eldar pansies. Even though I think pansies was the original like rogue trader thing that people would call them, or not people, greenskins would call them. I can't remember. But the point is that it's supposed to be very vulgar, very like aggressive.
Yeah, they're really like in your face, angsty, vulgar, like just mean spirited.
Yeah, but I think ever since like what was it, 2016, 4chan has changed, and if you like check out the lore, they don't talk about the crazy shit because there were stories about the R word. There were stories about like all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's if you get offended easily, this is definitely the chapter to ignore.
Yeah, and then along with the angry Marines, you also had the pretty Marines.
Mm-hmm.
Which were
Rainbow Warriors.
Rainbow Warriors was another one, but then there was also the ones that like are super. Like, what if Space Marines actually operated as a regular soldier group? They're called something Marine. They're green. I can't remember what they're called though. If you can remember, let us know in the comment section below. Or the Reasonable Marines. Is that what it is? Yeah,
it sounds right.
But yeah, next question.
So I got a fun one from the real Henry Bayman. Can you guys name a Warhammer related thing for every letter of the alphabet? Also, what's your favorite Warhammer 40K word?
Which one do you want to go first?
Let's do the word first, and then we'll try like speed run through the alphabet.
Yeah.
So it's really funny that like Roboot Gilliman is like, it's so weird because like there's a U and an O and an E in there, and like there's too many syllables, and like the memes are just all over the place. Robot girly man, robotic gorilla. Like it's just, Gilliman is just a weird word to say.
Yeah.
Albeit, I'll say a close second would be Sloppity Bile Piper.
Sloppity Bile Piper is a really fun one, yeah. Because I didn't get into the lore of Nurgle that much, or the Nurgle demons. So the whole concept of tallymen and like all this kind of stuff. At first, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was kind of like a angry Marine style thing. But then when you find out that there's a demon called Sloppity Bile Piper, you're like, oh, that's kind of fucking weird.
He's playing bagpipes.
Yeah. I think for me, the favorite word is WAAAGH. It's an orc war boss that no longer is part of the codex, I think.
Yeah, he keeps jumping in and out of the codices.
Yeah, but there you go. Gave you our favorite word, and you're better for it.
I guess so.
Those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk tomorrow.
That's right. It's always been the Sound Alchemist here with
Gershwan.
And we are out of here.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.